Welcome to OState Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a very, very special guest. He's very special to all Oklahoma State fans, even more special to me because I got to see this young man grow up right in front of my eyes, and getting a chance to talk to him again. Kye Staley, former standout running back at Oklahoma State University. Kye Staley, how the hell you doing, man?
I'm doing well, happy to be healthy, happy to be alive, happy to be just, here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking to reach out for me, to me. So just excited to be here. Excited to talk to the fans, catch them up on what I've been doing, and, answer a few questions, take a little trip down memory lane.
Yeah, a long time ago, since you're that tight end in junior high, working your way up to becoming a quarterback in high school, and at a high school career that probably could have won 4 state titles, right?
The funny thing, I went to the first home game at Guthrie. They ended up playing Tuttle, which is a really good game. I actually saw Coach Bennett, and I'll never forget.
Yes.
I was trying to play running back, and there was another kid in front of me, and I remember I suggested a halfback pass, and I'm not joking about this. I said, Coach, line me up. We were playing Shawnee my first year, 7th grade year. Yeah. I played tight end and linebacker. And I remember going to him, Coach, put me at tight end, pitch the ball to rail. That was his name. Pitch the ball to rail, and I'll halfback pass. And he put it in. He ran the play. We ended up winning the game off that play. And so it was good to talk to him about that. Coach Ben, of course, Hall of Famer over there at Guthrie. Been a very great staple for athletes like myself. He was even there in the time when my mom was there. Shout out to Coach Terry Bennett. Like I said, he's a legend in Guthrie.
Absolutely is, and we'll get into some of the other coaches here as we move on. But, hey, I wanted to start with a couple of light moments. Of course, the one was being the tight end in junior high and all that, and the Hall of Famer Terry Bennett. Okay, so first one, Guthrie's won 4 state titles, 02, 07. You had 11 and 13. You were a big part of the 07 team. So, okay, which one's the best team? Got to ask you, man. Let's get this solved right now. Which one's the best team?
I'll say, because there's been quite a debate, I was actually old enough to remember, seeing the first state championship.
Yes.
And I'll say they definitely had the size. I would say they had more size than any, state championship team that Guthrie's ever seen. But I think in that moment, they just didn't know how to win like we did.
Right.
Coach Watkins came in, I think it was his maybe 3rd or 4th year. He ended up taking them to state and winning it all. Played really good Booker T team that win it, who garnered a lot of Division I players.
2 NFL players, by the way.
Right. And, 2007, obviously, I was a part of that. Our closest game was obviously 3 points against a very good Carl Albert team that year. So that whole year we weren't really tested other than that one game. 11 and 13 were really good. They had a lot of components to get to that. A lot of components to be able to be successful. Those last years, that we were able to, go win it all. But I know I'm kind of going around the question, but obviously I'm going to say 07. It was just so special. Sometimes fans would be home early, and I think they like that. We're up, 50 points at a halftime. Okay, this game is, over, said and done. But yet, the competitive games, we were very hard-nosed team, and we were very disciplined. MTXE, that's one thing that we live by, still to this day. But I think that was the year that everything kind of changed, because as we practiced, I think that was our best competition, ourselves.
Yes.
And the only way that we were going to lose that championship is if we defeated ourselves. There was no way we were going to lose that, which I know that when I was in 8th grade and the 7th grade, that 09 class, we were tabbed to win it. So it was almost like destiny. It was supposed to happen. But to answer your question, definitely 07, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Okay, one more light question for me before we move on to your career at Oklahoma State. I got to ask you, because I saw you do it a million different times. Post-surgery, post-knee surgeries, all that. Can we still do the Soulja Boy?
We can still do the Soulja Boy. We can do pretty much anything. My knee is fine. That's one question I do get asked a lot whenever I go back to Oklahoma State. People that know the story. It's funny, I was out one day eating. I just struck up a conversation with a gentleman, and I introduced myself. I was like, yeah, I'm Kye. Nice to meet you. He said, wait a minute. He said, Kye, what's your last name? I was like, oh, Staley. And he kind of paused for a second and said, wait a minute, like, you're Kye Staley? And like, he was just telling me, it's an honor to meet me. And I'd never met this man in my life. But, just to hear him talk about my story so vividly, obviously I lived it and, people read about it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to still be remembered, just for going through that adversity, being that now that I see being like a pillar of hope for people, like, being somebody that people see that went through adversity and, had success on the field and, still to this day, no problems with the knee. I know I'm kind of going around. No problems with the knee. A lot of yoga. I've been implementing yoga in my life for the past 7 years, very self-taught, which I'm lucky to have a woman in my life that is a yoga instructor. So it furthers my, I guess you could say, continued education on it. But overall, the knee is fine. I feel great. Still able to do everything that I hope to do in my 34th year of life, working out, running, bending it, so still have a healthy lifestyle. And, I'm just grateful for that.
Kye Staley's 34 years old. Damn, I'm getting old, man. I am getting old, no doubt about that. Okay, so obviously referencing the knee injury, you had that your first year at Oklahoma State, tore ligaments, did everything, had to work your way back. I'm sure Oklahoma State fans know all about that. You're probably very tired of answering that question. So let's move to this. Okay, people, I think maybe some Oklahoma State fans don't realize you actually were a quarterback for a lot of your time in high school. You're recruited as a running back, 4-star running back, originally committed to LSU. And then flipped from LSU to Oklahoma State. So take us through that process.
Well, I remember the day I wanted to commit. It was when Les Miles had came in. They just came fresh off their national championship run. Obviously he had ties to Oklahoma State. So when he came in, people heard that he was coming in to speak to me. They kind of felt some type of way about that. But much respect to Les Miles and his coaching staff. They did a great job recruiting me. Ultimately, LSU was, a 9-hour drive. Love the campus, love what they were about. But, Oklahoma State is a 30, 35-minute drive. And as I thought about it, I was like, well, it would make much more sense. I would love to see my family. I would love for my family, my friends to see me play, So I figured, why not go somewhere where I felt I was comfortable at. And, that recruitment process was very great. When people ask me still to this day why I chose OU, I remember Roy Williams, OU legendary safety. He was working out at a gym and me and him struck up a conversation. And he asked me, did you get recruited by OU? I was like, yeah. He said, well, why OSU? I said, I felt that OSU at the time had a lot going on. They were just renovating Boone Pickens Stadium. They were getting progressively better in their recruitments as well as overall in their seasons. And whenever I went there, they just showed me everything. They showed me everything. The new locker rooms, the new stadium, the new dorm rooms, the new uniforms that was happening. And one thing that I noticed is they didn't really have a national championship or a Big 12 championship. So I felt that me going there, I wanted to be a part of something that had never happened. And lo and behold, we did something that had never happened before. Still to this day, hadn't happened again, which hopefully that changes in the near future. But very grateful for my time at OSU. Wouldn't change it for the world. Obviously, as you get older in life, people kind of ask, if you could change one thing, would you go back and do it different? I wouldn't do it different. I wouldn't want to go through my injury again. That's for sure.
Sure.
But I would definitely do it again because it set me up to put me in the position in life where I'm supposed to be.
Absolutely. And also another really cool part of your experience at Oklahoma State is you were one of the original fullbacks or whatever you called them in that offense, H-back, whatever, cowboy back. I don't think they called them cowboy backs back then. But you were the original part of that backfield that actually, when the diamond was invented by Dana Holgerson, Mike Gundy, you were the original backfield of that. Talk about how cool that whole process was.
Well, I think for everybody to know this, first off, I got moved to fullback because just our depth at running back was just too deep. And, the running back coach at the time, Jamal Singleton, he just came in and sat me down and said, look, we're going to be honest, like we love how you play, but there's just not enough, there's not enough football to go around. So we're going to try to move you to fullback, which you'll get a lot of playing time. We will give you the ball still, but it won't be like you expecting. And I remember my attitude about it. I was like, I'm not a fullback. And I walked out his office and I had to sit and thought about it. I called my mom and I told her what was going on. I was like, do I need to transfer? Like, because I feel like they're not giving me a chance. She's like, well, they are giving you a chance. You just have to change your role, like you did at Guthrie. You played everywhere, but do you care more about what you play, or do you care about winning? And that's when I kind of realized, okay, I walked back in. I said, will I get to play? And he said, we're gonna start you out as first string, and it's yours to lose. And I wasn't losing, so my mindset changed. Because I was used to scoring touchdowns and long runs, and I had to change it to being the hard-nosed player, going to get the blocks and going backside, hitting those 260, 70-pound defensive ends. And I just changed my mindset, and that's what helped me out a lot. To see the success of other running backs like Joe Randall and Jeremy Smith, to see that my little part was able to spring them and let them have great success. I've always been a person that didn't care about the notoriety or anything like that. I just want to win.
Yeah, and we talked about the knee injury, how devastating that was, how difficult it was for you to get back. Many people never even thought that you might not even walk again, that kind of thing. That's how devastating it was. Mm-hmm. So I say all that to say, tell us how it felt, 2011. You finally get in the end zone against Baylor. That had to be an incredible moment for you. Well, first off, I'm going to take us back to January of 2011 when I actually went to Coach Gundy and asked him, hey, can I try again? He was like, I'll just wait for you to ask. At this time, I wasn't consistent in the football workouts. I was kind of doing my own thing. A lot of people don't notice, but I was actually taking kickboxing classes. Oh, really?
Kickboxing classes at the Coven, which were really fun, and I was staying in shape like that. And so that first week, I was like, okay, I can't do this. Like, I really doubted myself, but I was like, I've come too far just to come this far. And so leading up to that, had a good spring, got told I was moving to fullback, and I was like, okay, let's embrace this. And I'm glad I embraced it, because that season was so special. But it's funny how I scored that first touchdown at Baylor. We had actually ran that play once already, and Whedon just had his eyes set on Blackman on the post. And
wouldn't you?
Of course. And and I'm sitting there wide open in the flat. So I remember we ended up punting, I think. And then so I remember it was Coach Monken. He was up in the booth, and he was talking to Whedon. He's like, give Kye the phone. I was like, what? Like, give me the phone? He said, hey, don't worry, we're gonna come back to that play. You were wide ass open, excuse me. You were wide open. He's like, we're gonna run that play again. We're gonna get you the ball where you're gonna score. But
I'm sure if it was Coach Monken, there was a couple of other explicitness with it.
Oh, yeah. But lo and behold, we'd actually scored that drive, and then it got called back for a holding, so we were 1st and 15. And I remember like it was yesterday. I don't remember exactly the play, but I remember I ran up in the A-gap. The linebacker came down, thought I was blocking, ran the flats wide open. The rest is history. Touchdown.
Fantastic. That is an awesome moment. Hey, take us through. You got to play for Coach Holgerson. You got to play for Coach Monken, and then also your last year with Coach Yurcich. Mm-hmm. So can you kind of take us through the differences between those three?
Well, when they say how much pain are you in, 1 being least, 10 being the most. If it was an attitude, 1 being least, 10 being most, it literally went Holgerson, Monken, Yurcich, which all of them were great coaches. All of them had different styles to get their point across to their players. Coach Holgerson was definitely he was very fiery, very mouthy, but he's a competitor, which I always respected that, because he wants the best out of us just like we want to be the best. Same with Coach Monken. Coach Monken came more with a professional style, being in the NFL. He's like, listen, guys, I know that you're student athletes, but you're still students and athletes. So when it's time to focus, turn your phones off, disconnect. It's time to be professional, especially if you want to get to that point. So I will say, Holgerson definitely taught us to play with attitude and edge, chip on our shoulder. Coach Monken really taught us how to be professional and, carry ourselves the way that a professional would. And Coach Yurcich actually taught us to be calm. It's there's a fire around us. Okay, relax. We're good. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So all three were different in their own aspects. All three great in their aspects.
I'm going to turn to my left so I don't miss any of the names here. But check out the running backs that you got to play with. Jeremy Smith, Desmond Rowland, Rennie Childs, Kendall Hunter, Keith Toston, Bo Johnson, Joe Randall, and I think I already said Jeremy Smith. Mm-hmm. But, man, you got to play with some serious studs in the backfield. That had to be fun, right?
Most definitely, all of them. All of them different personalities, but all of them, had the same mindset. Come in, work hard. Which I know whenever, as I got older, being in that running back group, they kind of looked to me as being the leader, and I was proud to be that because they know how hard I worked to come back and be able to play. I always told them, before the game, don't take this for granted. Believe me, I know, because it could be gone just like that. So when we go out here, you go out and play your heart out. It's not about what's on the back of your jersey. It's about what's on the front of it. But still, you're playing for your family. So let's go out and let's go compete. And that's one thing that we harped on. We held each other accountable to play hard, to be on time to everything. And that group was special, very special.
All right, let's have a little bit of fun here. Let's back up to the 2011 big OU game, Bedlam game. It was the game that won the Big 12 championship for Oklahoma State. You said, hey, you wanted to be a part of that first Big 12 championship. That was the game that did it for you guys. Jamie Blacknick is scooping and scoring. Boone Pickens Stadium is going absolutely mad. That was an incredible environment. Take us all through that experience for you.
So shout out to Jamie Blacknick. If you watch the film, he actually didn't go down. He scored. But he set us up to have a little goal line fun.
He didn't get in the end. They did. I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay.
He actually scored. If you watch the film, the way he got tackled, his knee never hit the ground. Well, I will say that after Iowa State, we didn't just lose that game. We lost family from the Oklahoma State family.
Absolutely.
Still, I'll rest in peace to all of those lives that were lost. And that was a tough loss. Not just the game, just aspects of life. Once again, don't take things for granted because they could be gone just like that. So we knew that we had an opportunity to do something special, not just for Oklahoma State and the families, but just for the state of Oklahoma. To be put on notice that we were going through our adversity, but you know what? We're going to calm down and we're going to focus on our opponent. Leading up through that whole week, we were I've never seen a team more focused in any type of team I've ever been on. There was when coach said, okay, we got a chance to do this, we got to have a chance to do that. We need to focus. And we were also kind of upset, with that loss because we were up and, barring no circumstances, I'm not making excuses for that, but we should have won that game. And, we had to go out and make a statement, especially for the BCS, that we deserve to be in that national championship. So when we came out, I'll never forget it. The energy, it was different. I would say in terms of high school energy like that, it felt like second round Guthrie Shawnee.
Yeah.
It was just special. And yeah. I felt like from the moment I said, we about to beat their tails. And from the first snap, we left no doubt and, stormed the field. That was, like I said, that's just something that the reasons why I went to OSU for moments like that, that'll be remembered throughout the years. And people are obviously still talking about it and still remembering it so vividly. That's what makes my decision so special.
I'm one of them. Trust me on that. I spent a whole lifetime watching Oklahoma State get beat by OU. That's one of the most special nights of my life as an OSU fan. So, hey, yes or no question here. Would Oklahoma State have beaten LSU that year? I know LSU got in over OSU. Would Oklahoma State have beaten LSU?
I think it would have been a really good game at that point. LSU's defense was pretty good. I will say that probably the toughest team we faced that year was Stanford. Stanford was ridiculously good. They were very sound, they were coached very well. But I honestly think that if we were given the opportunity to play in that national championship, we probably bring one back to Stillwater. I'm not being biased in any way, shape, or form. I'm just seeing it as our offense was just connected so well, and our defense was just turnover machines, which we were able to do that.
They were. Absolutely were. Hey, let's fast forward to this year's team. Oly Gordon, he was a leading rusher last year. He comes in with Heisman aspirations. Mm-hmm. You've been that guy that's had all those expectations on your back. It's OSU's kind of a fishbowl because it's very little and everybody knows what you're doing at all times. So if you had any advice to give Oly Gordon, so far he hasn't quite had that Heisman type of season first two games in. So if you had any advice for Oly Gordon on how to handle all those expectations, what would Kye Staley say to him? I
would say not to be frustrated. Just understand, obviously you're a high profile player, but at the end of the day, you're not. It's not just Oly Gordon 3-0. It's Oklahoma State 3-0. Oklahoma State 4-0. So you just have to just, first off, enjoy the process and just continue to play. Like don't lose your joy for the game. Sometimes people are so caught up, I'll have to repeat of what I did successes last year. I mean, if you're a player, like you're a player. It doesn't matter if you rush for 200 yards a game. It doesn't matter if you rush for 150 yards a game. It doesn't matter if you're honorable mention. Because I've seen, watching the draft, honorable mention players getting picked first round. So just continue to be within himself and, just continue to play the game and have fun. I can kind of see as I watch him, he gets kind of frustrated. His temper kind of takes control of him. He has to learn to be calm in the midst of chaos. It's okay to be passionate, but when that passion turns into anger and you're always, mouthy and wordy, and that's just a quick way for a ref to like, okay, I'm waiting for him to do something else, flag. Because a lot of people some people don't want to see him succeed. And I'm not saying refs are out to get him or anything like that, but that's just the truth of the matter.
Absolutely. So you've had a chance to see this year's team. It has big aspirations. Another one of those teams, kind of like 2011. Hey, if everything falls right, this could be a team that makes the playoffs and makes a run at a national title like you guys did. So tell us your thoughts about this year's team.
After watching these first two games, first off, I've had a lot of people say that Arkansas was an ugly win. I mean, it was a bad win. Excuse me. There are no bad wins. A win is always good.
Right.
I feel that our adversity was tested with that double overtime game. The running game wasn't working at that point, but that's why you go and recruit those guys that can step up and make plays for you when it's crunch time, when they matter. The 4th and 1 stop, I will say, was a really great play, really good play. I think that if we can stay healthy for one, our offensive line is looking pretty good. We just need more consistent play with our quarterback, which I think anybody can see that, and everybody can see that. I also don't think that we need to continue to try and force feed Oly.
Good point.
You can kind of see that trend kind of coming up, like with Chuba, when he had that really good year, and then the next year we're trying to force feed him every game instead of letting the game come to him. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Which Oly Gordon is an sensational player. Obviously he's a Doak Walker Award winner for a reason. Unanimous preseason All-American. I just think that we need to utilize him that way. He's going to get a lot of attention from a lot of defenses. When that happens, that opens up a lot of other plays for your playmakers on your offense. And it also helps him get a lot better, too.
Absolutely. Kye Staley, this has been such a wonderful joy to get to catch back up with you. Of course, repping the Guthrie hat today, and the Gut Rock, obviously, yeah. And so it's been a long time since I've actually had a chance to talk to you. So this has been such a wonderful joy for me. And I know, because I got to see it firsthand, you had a whole bunch of people in your village that made Kye Staley who Kye Staley is. Coach Watkins, Coach Mick, your mother, your sister, everybody. Coach Bennett, you mentioned him earlier. This is your chance to thank all of them.
Oh, well, first off, it's the irony in this. I was actually talking to this person the other day. I went to Kingfisher to go watch Keaton Callan's, Guthrie alumni, go coach there. He's their receivers, assistant offensive coordinator coach over there. And his dad was there. And Reggie Callis, he was actually my 6th grade coach. And, me, Keaton, Dante Foster, Michael Harmon, Clayton Smith, Jack Dumas, all played on his team 5th and 6th grade. And I will say that I have to thank him. I thanked him. I was like, I got to thank you because you were the first coach that was really tough on me. And that, like, to take constructive criticism and roll with it and be better about it. And he even told me, he said, he said, I had to get on you, said, because when you went and you wanted to be great, nobody could stop you.
Right.
So I got to definitely give a shout out to him, Coach Bennett, Coach LeGrand, had an opportunity to see him. He implemented a lot of toughness in us, not just in football, but in basketball as well. Obviously Coach Watkins, he did a lot for me in my life. All 4 years at Guthrie, he was, very instrumental in my life and, keeping me humble and keeping me, focused on what the main goal is. And, that's to get to college and get that education as well as, be able to play on the field. Like to thank Coach Mick. I remember Coach Mick, my sophomore, junior year, would come to Langston while I was at Upward Bound and take me to workouts and then take me back. And he did that 4 days a week. And a lot of people don't realize that, but he did that 4 days a week. So really the whole Guthrie, coaching staff had been very instrumental in my life. And then, as I get up to OSU, Coach Singleton, Coach Glass. Coach Glass is very instrumental in my comeback. He's the one that kind of kept me motivated. You can do it, but you got to quit. You got to quit these outside things if you want to really focus and be the man that I know you can be. I saw you I was here when you recruited. I've spoken to you. I know your mom. I know your parents. And so he obviously, he definitely helped me get my body back right to be able to compete at a high level. Bodies by Glass, it's a hashtag. It has to be famous now. And then definitely a big shout out to Coach DeForest. He's the one that recruited me. And, it wasn't easy because I was still, having obviously the recruitment is open. My recruitment, I was committed, but I was still, listening to Arkansas and kind of entertaining OU. But he stuck by me. And, I appreciate that. Obviously, Coach Gundy, a lot of people don't realize this, that whenever I got hurt, every day when I was in rehab, Coach Gundy came in and checked on me.
Wow.
And when somebody asked me, how's Coach Gundy, I have nothing but respect for Coach Gundy. When I did come back, I remember he had his 3 boys, and I think the youngest one was Gunner and Gage. And I remember after practice, they have the football, and I'd play catch with them for like 10, 15 minutes. And then I actually had the opportunity to see Gunner play in Stillwater, and he remembered me. And then same with Gage, and he remembered me as well. So I thought I always thought that was very cool. Yeah. And then of course, Coach G, Coach I can't even think of his name, Coach Tudman. All of those guys that were, knew what I could be, knew what, I was capable of. And, they kept me humble and they kept me motivated. They kept me hungry. So, I appreciate those guys, very much.
Absolutely. Kye Staley, this has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for joining OState Daily.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.